Everyone looks like it's ready. So what I'm going to do is cue the music and welcome our hosts today. We have a big group of facilitators that are so ready to play with us. So I'm very, very, very happy to welcome them today. Um, before we move on, I do want to mention that the session is being recorded and is going to be uploaded on YouTube and shared with the community. So I just want to make sure that we have that out of the way. If you feel uncomfortable or you don't want to appear on video, feel free to keep it off and communicate with us via voice message or reactions. Then we have Mosin today with us, and he is bringing a beautiful, beautiful game that I played maybe 2 years ago, Mosin, something like that, I think. And I'm excited to play it again. He is a learning facilitator and game designer who also loves snowboarding in the Himalayan mountains. And he was there for a month, just like recently came back, I think, right, Mosin? He has designed and developed over 50 games, which have been played by leaders of organizations like Uber, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Coca-Cola, Motorola, and all the big names. And I'm excited that he's bringing this game to the community. What inspired him to build the game Games for Learning, it's his own experience and relationship with education and learning. But I'm not going to share more because I'm going to leave him to tell you all about that. So Mosin, thank you so much for being with us today. And I also want to welcome your facilitators crew, and maybe you want to introduce them a little bit. So I'm passing the mic over to you. Take it away.
Thank you very much. You guys are all able to hear me loud and clear? Yeah, cool. All right. Well, my name is Mohsen. I am delighted to be here among facilitators. And I think what's better than to bring the week to a close than to hang out and play and chill and hopefully learn something along the way, right? I think Plato once said that you can learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a lifetime of conversations. So we'll do just that. We'll be playing and enjoying ourselves in the process. But as we go in, let me just quickly introduce my co-facilitators in the room, because we're going to be splitting this team into multiple factions, if you will, and each one of them will have a support system through a facilitator. So I will be calling upon each of the facilitators to just come up and say a few words about themselves, and then I'll come back and give you an idea of what the flow of the events looks like for us today. All right. So first up, Mo, you're up, buddy.
Mo, I think you're muted.
Where's that unmute button when I need it?
The impression is ruined. It's just the impression is ruined. Okay, my name is Mo Ash. I identify myself as a learning architect. I work in learning design, game design, and I've been in the L&D field for about 15 years, and 7 years of them is instructional design. That's it. One of Mohsen's co-facilitators. Love the game. Been knowing the guy for 2 years and still hooked on it.
Love it. Love it. And Saba, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Hope you are all doing good. Love being here with all of you. So I am Dr. Saba Amir, and I am a biochemist, researcher, and a learning enthusiast. And I'm also a certified facilitator for Evivve, and looking forward to rock the evening with you all.
Woohoo! Yay! And we have a facilitator in training on his way to becoming a certified facilitator. And this, by the way, is going to get recorded. He's going to use it to submit for his final submission to become the certified facilitator. Gene, you're up.
Well, no stress there and no pressure. So my name is Eugene. I'm based out in Singapore. I actually first played the game, was it pre-pandemic? So probably about 3-4 years ago, but I loved it so much that I decided to play it again. And then I decided that I needed to learn to facilitate the game. So that's what I'm here to do today. So I hope to be able to take this recording and submit this and be a full-fledged facilitator like the Mo, right, as well. And of course, hopefully we can all enjoy the game together today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Wow. So yeah, you guys are in good hands today. I'll be shuttling around to make sure that everything is functioning fine and good, and to make sure that that you are playing well and you're learning how to play and do all that good stuff. So as we dive in, you'll need an app that that we will be playing the game with. So hopefully you've already downloaded the app, and if you haven't, then let me show you the QR code that we will be using in order to download the app. So if you haven't already done that, please quickly take a snap of this QR code and begin the download process. We're going to keep this up on the screen for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, no pressure. All right. And we're going to hit play on that video now, so just before that, 1 second. So I'll just give you a quick run through of the flow of events, and then we're going to hit the play button on the video, which will give you a walkthrough of the game, quick idea of what the game is about and the context. And then it's going to teach you how to play the game as well. So step by step, you will learn how to play the game by actually playing. So that's why this QR code is important, because you will have your own versions of your game on your mobile devices, and you will learn how to play the game. And then after that entire flow of events is over, once you learn how to play the game, we'll open up the floor to answer any questions that you might have about the game. Is there any kind of confusion, anything that you need clarification on? We'll resolve all of that. And then we're going to go into our respective breakout rooms, and with our respective teams, come up with a strategy or a plan of action that you will use in order to not just play, but hopefully also win in Evivve. And I'll just say this, all right? Here's the thing. Of all the teams that played the game the first time, most teams don't win. However, when played with facilitators, it's a different ball game altogether. So no pressure, just say. All right, we're gonna have some fun. All right, so
prepare for the frustration that you're going to feel when you're going to lose the game. I still recall being like, no.
Yeah, give you a taste of your own medicine. And by the way, for those of us who are playing this game, we're all playing this game virtually, but I want to tell you guys this game, by the way, originally was built for physical classroom learning experiences, and it still is being used as a physical classroom learning experience as well. So I want you to think about that as you're playing the game, how that also happens using the same mechanism of the gameplay. So let's dive in and learn about the game with that short Evivve video. Anna Maria, you got that?
If you want to stop the video, I think that you need to get that.
Okay. So I'll start the video. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you for instructing me. There we go. Can you all see this? Just confirming. Yeah.
All
cool.
good.
Perfecto.
It is the year 2030, and Earth has begun its evolutionary process. Unpredictable disasters mark the beginning of a new age when Earth becomes a methanized planet. And for that very reason, CROB has been working hard on a solution that can change the fate of the human species through a genome experiment. For the first time, sub-tribe leaders from various locations form a tribe where they act as a single unit to tackle the predicament at hand, to find enough movalenium, which are found deep in the mines. But movalenium's extraction costs are no joke. They require deep pockets and efficient management of existing resources. The leaders must manage their resource tiles despite the natural disasters that render them useless. They must unite their efforts despite the lucrative opportunities to compromise the tribe for individual benefit. And ultimately, they must channel their energies to arrive at never-before-seen synergies, which would enable them to harness the mystical powers of movalenium and become the methanites they were meant to be, and mark history with their story of evolve.
Welcome to the ERM app tutorial. Here you'll learn two key things. Number one, your ultimate objective in Evivve. And number two, achieving your objective. Your ultimate goal here is to find enough movaleniums to evolve. And the way to do that is through the process of commerce. Each person gets some money to begin with. You have to use this money wisely in order to make more money so that you can mine movaleniums. Now that you know your goal, you'll need to learn how to achieve it using the Evivve app.
Okay, so the app code is 6666. This has never happened in the history of all the times I've ever facilitated this game. It's quadruple six.
You need to do three things in order to evolve. Harvest your land, trade your resources, and mine movalenium. In Evivve, there are different types of lands, and each of these lands will give you specific resources. They're pretty simple to follow. Earth gives you bricks, forest gives you wood, farm gives you grain, lake gives you fish, plains give you sheep, and mines, of course, give you movalenium. With enough movalenium, you can conduct a genome experiment through which you and your team can evolve. On your app dashboard, you'll see the lands you own. You can harvest them by touching here to select the land, and then by touching harvest to begin harvesting. It may take anywhere from 1 to 5 weeks in-game time to harvest your land depending on your skill level.
All right, so just pausing this video here before we go into purchasing the land and trying to harvest it, making sure that everybody's got the app and that everybody has logged in using the app code 6666, quadruple six. Like I was saying, this has never, I've facilitated over like 1,000 games, and the chances are like, this has
This
never
is for good
happened.
luck. All the teams are going to win the game today, like never in history. There's going to be madness.
That's right. That's what this is telling me. I mean, what else could it be telling me, right? All right. So you've got the app. Enter the
Caroline
code.
has a question, Mohsin. How long
Yes.
will the code last so that they can keep testing it if they want to in the app? Is that possible or?
The code lasts for the game. So once this game is over, you'll generate a new app code. So each time there's a new app code. In fact, just here in this session, we'll be using multiple app codes. So right now you're just learning how to play the game. Make all the mistakes you possibly can, and I'll tell you how do you get a new app code and all of that. Carolyn, promise there'll be a place for questions and all of that. You will have all your answers. All right. For now, enter the app code. Enter the game. You should see a screen that says, "Please wait while other players join." And this is my cue to start the game. So you're going to get pushed into the game just now. And all you need to do is just follow the instructions on the screen. They're step-by-step guided support systems. So if you're ever confused, just look up and you'll see what you need to do up here on the screen. And if you're still confused, write the thing in the chat or unmute your mic, ask questions. This is the place to do all of that. Okay? Cool. Let's dive in.
Trade your resources.
All right, so before we go into trading resources, I just want to make sure that you followed along, you managed to harvest your land, you managed to buy some land. Hopefully you didn't spend all your money, because I know some of you guys love shopping, but hopefully you didn't spend all your money. So we're good so far. Sophie can't buy anything. Okay, well, it's very simple. You've got to press on the map button and then the hex on the front on the home screen, and then click on any of the orange nodes that you're seeing. You know those orange dots that are on the screen? Press on any of those and you'll be able to buy the land. And then once you buy the land, you press the X on the top left of the screen. That'll pull you out, bring you back to the home screen, and then the instructions gave you ideas around how to harvest the land. So hopefully you did that. Yeah, cool. All right, so far so good, I suppose. If you have any questions, raise your hand, ask for help, and we're going to be here to assist you. And of course, this is not the real deal just yet. You're just learning, so this is the space to make all the mistakes you can. And then when you go into the main room, you will also have a facilitator who will assist you along the way there as well. Cool. Now, let's learn about trading resources, which is brought to us by the chief. You know those offers that keep coming on the screen? This is instructions for what to do with those. What are they and what do they mean?
You trade your resources for money with the chief, who brings you offers. These offers are on a first-come, first-served basis, meaning the first one of you to accept the offer gets it. When you accept the offer, you see a notification that says you have accepted the offer. A trick on earning money is to ensure that you fulfill the offers you accept. The chief brings the market's demands, and you supply the demand with your resources, which you can see in your inventory. For example, here the chief says deliver 1 grain in 5 weeks and get 300 chronos. There is a demand for grain, and if you accepted that offer, you'll have to fulfill that demand with a grain that you would have to harvest from your farm. If you fail to deliver an offer in the stipulated time, the offer will expire. Delivering offers will earn you money. Lastly,
All right, before we go into mining Mobileniums, I'm going to let you guys play with this interface a little bit more. Hopefully you're accepting offers right now. You're also trying to fulfill these offers with the resources that you've harvested from your lands. And hopefully, if you're doing everything right, you're probably running out of money. So has anybody run out of money yet? Can I see a show of hands, or anybody in the room? Just type in the chat. Let us know you've run out of money so we can send you money so that you can continue to harvest your land. Anybody in here?
This is also a good moment to unmute and share if you have issues, you're not in the app, you don't get something is stuck. Just make sure that you're ready for when the game's on.
Yes, yes. Letitia. Okay, Letitia, we're going to send you some money. It's your lucky day. Here you go, 30 chronos for you. By the way, you can do that as well to each other. So if you're rich, you know, you're a multimillionaire boy or girl, hey, send some money to your friends who might be needing some. And the way to do that is by going to fund transfer. That orange button on the top right of the screen gives you a bunch of menu options. And one of them is your beloved fund transfer. Yes, the app does need good internet because it's an internet game. That is correct, Carolyn. All right, I'm going to play the rest of this video now. Hopefully you're accepting offers, fulfilling offers, buying land, doing all that jazz. We're going to bring this whole thing together now with how do we close this? What does all of this mean? And what do we really need to do by doing all of this?
mine Mobilenium. Your evolution depends on Mobilenium. In order to gain Mobileniums, you'll need to buy a mine and then mine the mine. Remember, buying the mine is expensive, So you'll need to do some commerce with the chief before you can purchase it. And like any other land, mining the mine will also cost you money. Note that movaleniums are rare, and you may not always find movaleniums when you mine, but your chances of mining more and better movaleniums increase as you become more skilled. Once you gain movaleniums, you'd send it to Krob in order to progress your genome alteration experiment. With enough movaleniums, you'll be able to evolve. So in a nutshell, you and your teams must harvest your lands, trade your resources with the chief, and mine movaleniums in order to evolve. That should pretty much set you up to get started. Feel free to look around the app for more functionalities that aren't covered in this tutorial. And we wish you the best in your evolutionary journey.
Okay, we've got a couple minutes now before we go into the real deal. Do you have any questions about how to play? How does this thing work? You can unmute your mic, and this is really the space for you to ask all the questions you have, because once you go into the main game, we're expecting that you know how to play and that you're moving into coming up with a plan of action, kind of like a strategy, because you're going to be playing this game with your respective teams, and there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 of you who are going to be working together in order to achieve your goal. So, questions?
Can you make a quick summary, mostly because between the internet and the video didn't work, so please.
I can do that. I will do that. So here's how this thing works, okay? You need to do 3 things to play the game. You start with nothing, all right, and 200 chronos. You first buy the land, okay? So you press the map, the hex, you buy the land, you make sure you don't spend all your money. You have some money left so that you can harvest your land later on as well. Then, once you bought the land, you will then harvest the lands. Each land you harvest will generate resource. For example, forest gives you wood, earth gives you bricks, lake gives you fish, farm gives you grain, so on and so forth. All right. I will put the entire breakdown of what thing gives you what resource right here in the chat so that you have it as well as a reference. Okay. And once you do that, then you are accepting offers. These offers are like the market's demands. When you accept an offer, you're saying to the chief that, hey, I will deliver that offer and I'll earn money as a result of that. When I deliver the offer, to deliver the offer, I need the resources, which I harvest from my lands. Once you deliver the offers to the chief, you earn money. You use that money to buy a mine so you can mine movaleniums so that you can ultimately evolve. That's your goal. Your goal is evolution. And that's what this whole thing is about. Does that give you an idea? Is that a good enough summary for you?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions in the room before we close this move to the game? Okay, cool. So I'm guessing that people know what they're doing and they've got understood the game basically. At least if you've got the broad structure of the game right, that's good enough. You will learn along the way. Of course, you can't learn everything at one go. So you will play, you'll learn, you'll make some mistakes, and then you'll move on from there. One thing I do need to tell you about, though, is that in a moment, your screen will flash. It'll go back to the home screen, and the current app code, which was so very unique, 6666, will not work any longer. So that app code is used. And we will be giving you a new app code, which will be generated by your facilitator in your room. But before we go into that, I need to tell you about something called natural disasters. Now, natural disasters will also happen in this world as you are navigating through the process. And when a natural disaster happens, it can affect you in a couple of different ways. One is, depending on where on the map it happened, it can block access to your lands, okay? The second impact could be that it could temporarily log you out. And the third, most severe of all, is that it will log you out permanently, in which case you will have to start fresh. Okay, so you will lose your progress. Let's hope that it doesn't happen to any of us because it's completely random and it can happen to anybody. Yeah, cool. So with that, we will go into the breakout rooms. You will have 10 minutes to come up with a plan of action, a strategy with your respective team members, and then we will launch the main game. The game is on. Let's do this.
All right, Mohsin, quick question.
Yes.
Are we creating 2 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4? Is that okay?
2 groups of 3 and 1 group of... Sure, that works. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and then we've got Mo in one of the breakouts. We've got a Saba in the other breakout, and one of the groups is going to be remaining in the main room.
Correct.
And the breakouts are open for 40 minutes.
Yep. Cool.
All right. Any questions before we move in? Jean, you're going to stay with us here, and so is Rachel. No questions? Okay, we'll be moving through the breakout rooms. Enjoy playing the game, and see you back for the debriefing and the explanation to what is the connection with leadership. Someone asked in the chat, like, what does have to do with leadership? We're going to see after the game. Okay, have fun playing. See you back in 40.
While, and it looks like we have just closed this game. Wow. For those of us who are just joining in, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at the stats of this screen.
Okay.
We lost. Yes.
We lost.
We lost.
But at least we have our pride.
The Viking era is over.
Wow. That was amazing. It was so interesting for me to shuttle between the different teams and watch the 3 very different styles in which teams were playing. Like, I wish you had that opportunity to just see other teams. Like, one team was quiet, like there were crickets chirping in that team. and then there's like another team which is like going crazy. There's like a lot of noise and just like anxiety building up. I was getting anxiety just watching it. And then there was another team. It was all calm and methodical and just, this is how we're gonna roll.
I think that was the main room. Was the main room methodical?
You never know.
You'll never know. Ana Maria, you have to live with this curiosity.
You
Okay,
have
cool.
to
Thank
live
you.
with
Thank
that.
you. Thanks. I'll remember that.
Return the favor. All right, so let's talk about
What
this.
happens in the room stays in the rooms.
That's right. That's right. Let's talk about this. I wanna really like hear from all the people that played the game just now. There was kind of like an evolution, right? Like things changed. You developed more understanding and then you started making different decisions. But enough of me. I want to hear from you. And I want to preface this with a question. And the question is, what was your journey like in the last 365 days of the game? What happened? Go for it.
So I think we were trying to get our strategy on at first, and we're thinking about how do we divide up these tasks? What resources should we maybe specialize in? And so I think I kind of started to do that, but then I realized what a chore, what a task it was to keep monitoring the offers and trying to think, do we have that? Do we have that land? Are we already trying to harvest that? And so that kind of became its own task, which seemed very hard to distribute across the 3 of us. So I was watching offers, trying to click on the ones that we would be able to fill. But that also took up a lot of my time. And then I wasn't paying attention to my hexes and harvesting them or seeing what was coming up. So I was probably trying to manage too many resources and watch and manage the offer board. My team members were feeding me resources, and so I think I should have backed off on the number of resources I was trying to manage and try to coordinate that offer fulfillment role. So that, and that kind of and however, as I started to centralize activity on me fulfilling orders and me owning the bank essentially, then natural disaster wiped out all of our Chronos. So we had a supply chain issue there.
Wow. How much money did you lose there in that?
It was like almost 1,700 when we hit. So.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and then I had to go back in the game with starting over and tell my teammates I lost all of our Chronos.
But you cannot prevent disasters, right? They just strike you. They're like
right. And so then we were talking, how do we distribute that? How do we keep a Chronos level distributed across the team? Which I never actually did. I just held on to all the money because I'm bad at details. But, my wife doesn't let me manage the accounts either. So I should have told you that up front.
Ben was like, this is my opportunity. Any other stories in the room? I'm curious to hear perspectives. Lou, you want to go for it?
Yeah, thank you so much. The game was really entertaining and surprising, to be honest. I really loved what we did as a team together. We came up with a strategy and we focused on role divisions. So each of us had a very specific role, which helped with the anxiety and the panicking, because we all had one focus and it was very clear that each member, I'm a very anxious person by nature, but playing this game, knowing that I have this one specific role and it's clear to me what I need to do in order to help the team. So that was very, very interesting and lovely. It wasn't anxious at all. We really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I guess this speaks a bit to how we recognize each other's strengths and areas of growth and how we provide support to one another so each person can be effective when working as a team as well. Yeah. Any other stories? Yeah, go for it, dude.
Okay, hi everyone. So first, I want to tell you I came in late to the meeting, so I had absolutely no idea what we were doing. And when I downloaded the game, I was like, what am I doing, right? But then we went into the team, and I'm just like, still don't get it. What am I going to do? What should I do? Promise you, this was the first time ever for me for a game online or ever, right? And I was like, what am I gonna do? But well, let's do it. Whatever, right? I'm just gonna click here and there and there. But there was a moment, something changed. Maybe after Benjamin got a reboot or something. But I got it. And I got into my role, and I'm a harvester. And I'm gonna send you whatever I have. And you do whatever you have to do. Like, I followed the leader. Thank you, Benjamin. We lost, but I love my team. Thank you very much, Leticia. It was amazing. It was the first time for me. This is very, very exciting for me. Thank you, guys.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. What a story. A story of from rags to riches transformation. Beautiful. Any other stories in the room? Shy people, facilitators. Yeah, Paul, go for it. Sorry, were you saying something, Ben?
Please go, Paul. Please.
Oh, sure. Thanks. I was gonna say what was interesting was because we kind of took a division of roles and kind of concentrated on specialities. For us, is as the game kind of took hold, there was kind of an opportunity to explore kind of some of the other buttons in the marketplace, like, oh, what is buying and something. And I discovered like, oh, you can buy dev points, and then one of the things I think I would take into the next one is you can also buy Movelenium on the market at some point to supplement the mining. So I think in future I would look to put that into my pocket as a potential strategy too, is not only sending money to the teams that we can accomplish the goals on a larger sense, but also as that surplus builds, use that to sort of acquire that resource, not simply from the harvesting. Because we had a couple of mines going, but our percentage on striking, payoff from those mines was low.
Yeah. There's a 50% chance after you mine a Movilenium that you'll get it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And Paul, to your point, there's a trick up your facilitator sleeve, which is that when you buy Movilenium from the market, there's a chance that they may be bad.
Oh.
So the quality of the Movileniums could be bad. And if you submit multiple bad quality Movileniums to CROB, it will cause a chain reaction and take out all the good ones as well.
Oh
and
my
you're
gosh.
telling us this now?
Oh my gosh.
Round one, guys, I'm prepping you up for like round 2, 3, 4. This is just the beginning.
Way to sabotage the mission here, Mosin. Thank you.
Hey, I'm part of your team. I'm giving you.
Actions speak louder than words. Remember that.
Benjamin, go for it.
You should be prepared for the championships, Mohsen.
One of the questions early on was, how does this apply to strategy? And I see it right now. I mean, I saw it when I was coming in, but something I'm thinking about is how we structured our team roles, and also communication pathways. I just happened to be reading this really excellent book called Team
Brilliant.
And I'm reading this and I'm playing this game and I'm like, this is totally reinforcing what I'm learning in this book about how you structure your team ends up determining the structure of your solution, or perhaps the quality of your solution. And so, this I think is a great example, a great analogy or way to practice this. So thanks for developing this.
Thank you. And it's available to you. That's the good news of all of this. So before we go into use cases and talk about, like, as facilitators, we're going to still keep our learner hat on for a little while longer, and then we'll switch gears and talk about how have we used it, how are other facilitators using it. There are members in this room who are already using this game, your facilitators, and there are people who are going to be using it as well, and how can that opportunity be made available to you, and all of that. I'm going to come to that, but let's keep that learner hat on for another 5 minutes. And is it okay if I summarize what we've learned in maybe a couple of bullet points? I usually don't do PowerPoint, but it kind of helps to sort of summarize and bring things together. Would that be all right if I did that? Yeah. Okay. Lou, to your question, yes, we should talk for sure. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick, give you a glimpse of what are some key takeaways that we can possibly potentially take away in the context of communication and collaboration only. So I'm gonna keep this limited to communication and collaboration, but I have no doubt that you are already thinking about strategy, decision making, dealing with VUCA, project management, ability to work effectively, cohesively, all of that. So let's look at communication. So it starts with gathering everyone's inputs during strategy, and we've seen this time and again, facilitated over 1,000 games of Evivve. And if there's one thing I know for sure, that when teams are coming up with a plan of action, the strategy itself, everyone has to have a say in it. And when people have a say in it, they're more involved, they're more committed, even if that say is not heard, or even if that say is not actually implemented. But having a voice makes such a powerful difference right off the bat. Ensuring everyone knows what they're doing. Sometimes we take this for granted, right? You enter a team and there's an onboarding system and process in place, there's the training in place and all of that, and we expect that people will know what they're doing. So I'll give you an example. There were one of the games in here, people didn't know that they needed to hit that deliver button when delivering the offers, right? That could be such a small shift that can change everything. So you got all these resources, you're doing all of this stuff, but if you're not delivering that offer, it changes things, right? You're not making any money in that process. Communicating progress along the way. And some teams in here did this so beautifully. And we saw the results. We saw it transpire in the form of increased tribe value, reputation, and subsequently Millennium counts, right? And using disaster time to talk about what's working and what's not working. In this one, I'm not going to hold that to you because there was only one disaster and that was only one opportunity. But in a full length game, there are 3 to 4 disasters, and that presents multiple opportunities for teams to align with one another and to coordinate with one another to achieve that ultimate goal. And by the way, disaster time is the one time when the clock literally stops. So that's a huge opportunity to gather everybody and take stock of what's happening. In the context of collaboration, aligning everyone to the common goal, the big picture. What's that one thing that we're going after? And then maybe a step beyond this is to quantify that common goal, that big picture. So we understand as a whole that we're going to evolve, we're going to work together to evolve. But what does that actually mean? Do we know how many millenniums do we need? So imagine when in your respective games, did you actually know the count of how many millenniums you needed? And the chances are that you're saying no, or you have a guess, maybe 5, maybe 6, 7, but not a definite number. And this is hidden by design because it requires a little bit of math that you need to do. You need to look at the number of millenniums you submitted, and then look at the percentage it's increasing and do a little bit of backwards math to determine if one millennium gives me 10%, therefore I need 10 millenniums to evolve because I need to get that bar to go to 100% genome experiment, right? And so we hide that information just a little bit to push you to think about the end goal, which is a little unclear. And isn't that how it is in life as well? The goals are not always quantified. We have to create quantification for some of the goals that we're pursuing. Empowering logged out or differently abled members and great teams collaborate. When they collaborate, they do this. They take care of each other. And we've actually seen that happen in this very game, right? Where one person had all this money, lost it, and then when they came back, the team supported them, bring them back on their feet, and then they're ready to roll again, right? Holding each other accountable on their promises. This is the next level of collaboration. When there is fundamental trust and psychological safety in place within a team, the team can start to feel comfortable to challenge one another in a healthy competition and question about fundamental, broad level and basic questions like, you were supposed to deliver that offer, what happened, right? Or why is our tribe value only 3? Why are we only delivering 30% of the offers while we're accepting 100% of the offers? And it doesn't come from a place of like challenge. It comes from a place of what can we do together to fix this? How can we make this thing work? What can I do? What's my role in this, right? And then provide assistance to under-equipped members. And we're all under-equipped in some way, shape, or form at different stages of our journey as we're playing. And here we get to see that the teams that collaborate well tend to do this more effectively. So yeah, that's the quick summary, quick rundown of the key learning that emerges from the game ecosystem. And I want to open up the floor to see if there's anybody who wants to share anything that maybe I didn't share or something that's coming up for them as they're listening to this. This is a great place to do that as well. And I also want to invite the facilitators to chip in. Yeah, go for it. Just go ahead.
I was thinking the fact that the Millennium goal, the number wasn't immediately visible. That makes sense for my space and like innovation management, right? Because you don't really know what the end's going to look like, but by inference, by backing into it, by paying attention to your customers or whatever, you can arrive at that. Where where we need to get. But you're right; it's not always obvious, and we often have to back into that goal or that number.
Mm-hmm. And you have to define it, right? Sometimes you don't. It doesn't have a definition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have seen people evolving literally in the game. I mean, I don't mean to be cliche, but that actually happened. So at first they were like, "What should we do? Like, how can we get the most out of this?" And like, should we strategize by stating what resource we should work on? No. Let's all work together. What's the use of doing something like that? And I just let them be. And I give them bits of information about that. And then they started to realize communication ties. They started to collaborate as they understand the game more. So once they get to the context of the knowledge, the context of the how to form relationships in the game, relationships start to manifest. And they started to coordinate. They started to form roles, although they're not calling it roles. So we have Benjamin here, who's Boy Wonder in the game, and my team is called the Vikings. He took on, he literally is Wonder. He took on the leadership initiative. Du was all over the place, and then she was like, you know what, I need to support. I'm gonna push sheep here, I'm gonna pay money there. And Letitia was just, you know what, I'm gonna moderate, I'm not gonna intervene, let them be. And whenever something slips, she just swoops in. So to me, Ben was the leader, and then we lost him in the natural disaster. So Letitia at that time, well, it's time for me to swoop in, because she made her enough analysis to do that. So roles were there without giving them roles. They did that just naturally. And that's the beauty of it. So they found their rhythm. And that's basically the theme of the whole thing. They found their rhythm. True, if we played the entire 45 minutes game, I think, Mohsen, that they will be one of the winning teams, because they were on the way to it. They were on the way to it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And question, is 45 minutes the normal length? Is the normal length of the game?
Yeah, that's the base version of the game. This is like a quick demo version, which is only about 23 minutes long. That one is full length. So it's more forgiving. It gives you more time to sort of, get your feet wet, start to understand the mechanics of the game, make mistakes. It gives it, like I said, it's more forgiving than this version. This version is just at you. Yeah. Anna Maria?
I also wonder if your clients or your facilitators are using this with teams and gather them after a longer time span, because now we played with basically people that we don't know. Like, we don't know each other. We're not colleagues. We probably haven't worked together. And it would be very interesting to see if we would take the same teams and do this in 2 months, and then again in 2 months or something like that. If we would be able to also see developments in the back end, in the dashboard, of improved team collaboration and communication over time, I think that would be very, very valuable, because I bet that the dynamics are different. I also played it with strangers 2 years ago, and thinking about it today, it would be totally different to play it with my team, for example. Like, even my behavior will slightly be different. Yes, Mo.
If I can say something, I played it with my team, and true colors started to appear. All the fluffiness that they have, it turned ugly during the game.
But that's what I mean.
I started to see people, like real people. No, oh my God, I love you. No. Some true colors started to appear. So you would enjoy that. You would know a lot about your team in this game. It's interesting.
Yeah, and this is such a fascinating point, because and I want to answer your earlier point, Anna Maria, as well. But just to close this one, it's that when people play the game with an intact team, who is a team outside of the game as well, you see that they carry a lot of the baggage from outside the game, from the workplaces into the game environment, and that surfaces a lot of dysfunctions, whatever that might be. Or if there are productive behaviors, that also emerges. So all of that surfaces, and that provides an opportunity for the team to look at and reflect on. And to your earlier point, Yeah, absolutely. So this is the way we're using this, and I think this conversation is slowly moving into more of like a Q&A and talking about use cases and those kinds of things. But really, the way that we're using this is for learning journeys, where we kick off with an Evivve game. You create the appetite for learning, and you create the appetite for realizing that there are gaps within the team, and no assessment does what this does. At least I've seen that happen in because people get to see whether we were functional, dysfunctional, whatever happened, we see that. And then there's learning in between. So whether it's a classroom learning, virtual classroom, e-learning, whatever that might be, and then you meet again, a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, whatever. The game is meant to be played multiple times with increasing difficulty levels. So we've got 3 levels of difficulty. So a team can play the game up to 3 times without experiencing boredom, because every level brings in a new nuance, a new challenge that the team has to overcome. It uses the base game dynamics and mechanics, but builds on it and throws something at you that you didn't see coming. So as facilitators, we can talk more about that, and I can share about what are some things that emerge, if that's something, an area of interest for you. Yeah, so we'll open up the room at this point in time to see if you've got any questions around use cases or any of those kinds of things, or maybe even if you just want to share, where would you plug something like this in, given the opportunity? Yeah, go for it, Dan.
First of all, thank you all for facilitating and creating also this game. It's a game board put in online, which is awesome. At least for a lot of people that I know they're passionate about this kind of games. It's working wonders, to say like that. One question will be, how many players should be in one team maximum?
So virtually, we recommend no more than 12 players in a game. Okay, no more than 12, because there's a certain amount of airtime that everybody needs to be able to play the game effectively. Physically, because this game can be played physically as well, and I'm traveling to Abu Dhabi early next month to deliver Evivve for PwC, and that will be a group of 30 people roughly, and we'll be doing it in 2 different games. So typically, when we're doing it physically, I recommend no more than 20 people in one batch or one group of game. But you can play an unlimited number of simultaneous games at the same time. So if you've got a group of 500 people, we can split them up, and they can be in their respective groups to play teams of 10 or teams of 12 or teams of 20, depending on how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Mostly him. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Just to have time to facilitate it, that broad number of people.
Yeah, so you'll need facilitators to manage each of those groups, and that's why there's a facilitator community as well that works together. Like, for example, just a couple of months ago, Mo was a part of that. We delivered Evivve for Microsoft for about 100 something people, right, Mo? Is it 100 something?
250.
Yeah. So there were many facilitators working together, and it was all virtual. So we delivered simultaneous game for all of them, and that's that's the other piece of the facilitator bit, which is there's a community of facilitators. Once you get certified, once you go through the process of getting certified, then you're kind of on the inner circle, and you also, each facilitator kind of brings opportunities to each other, and it's a skill that you trust. You know that other people know how to facilitate this and do this well, so that kind of thing.
Great, thank you. I do have a lot of questions, but I thank you.
I like the sound of that. Benjamin, I think you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the reason I discovered this sort of way to teach strategy was some work I've done with Simon Wardley and his Wardley mapping technique, and talking about how in the past he's worked with organizations and they use things like World of Warcraft or stuff like that and dump teams into them to sort of teach the importance of of strategy, of doctrine, and things like that. So you've like built a game for this. So I think this is awesome, and I'm excited to share it with teams, help them understand the importance of strategy, the roles, getting the team roles right. I mean, this is amazing. So yeah, thank you for developing this. A quick question just to follow on. Approximately, what's the facilitator to participant ratio you typically need?
Need as in when you're running the game?
Yeah, when you're running the games, you need a facilitator for each team?
For each team of 12. So,
okay.
So 12 is the max in virtual setting, and you could have 20 in the physical setting.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. It's been a long time coming. Evivve has been a brainchild, and I actually built Evivve. I'm a facilitator myself, and I've been in this space for the last many years, and I built Evivve for myself. And then through the pandemic, I realized, wow, there are so many facilitators out there who now don't have work. How can I make this available to them so that they can deliver learning programs in a fun, more engaging way and virtually? So that prompted me to build the infrastructure to put this on the cloud and make it available to all the facilitators out there. And currently, there are about 100 certified facilitators that know how to use Evivve, and they're around the world. And that's where I feel like we're just getting started. There's so much more that we could be doing with this.
Well, the motif and metaphor you've created around the game is so much more amenable to corporate teams because, let's face it, World of Warcraft and some of these other games, you're trying to kill everyone. So this is much more collaborative, team-based. We're trying to survive. So I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Nelly, you had an idea you wanted to share?
What's more, an idea and a question. I wonder if you've tried this. Well, first, I want to say congratulations, Mohsin, and thank you very much for sharing this with us. Congratulations for creating it. But my comment was, have you tried it with children in order to teach them about teamwork and collaboration and everything? It should be very interesting.
Oh my God. Saba, you work with kids, right? Like, do you wanna comment on that? I've got a few things I want to say about that, but do you want to say anything to that?
Yes, that was a brilliant idea. And I had this idea long ago. And I just hosted a session with my own kids and their friends. And trust me, guys, those kids were brilliant, like 8 to 10 years old, and they did an amazing job. And just in the demo session, they were able to mine millenniums and even send it to the crop. Wow. And I was pretty much amazed because, children, they are quick learners. They are super genius minds. It was amazing. That was the best facilitation ever that I did in my whole facilitation career. Wow. The team was super enthusiastic. And I believe it is a wonderful learning journey for them because, they are the future milestones. So Evivve can be put into a great learning experience for kids because the knowledge that you have, the lessons that you take are wonderful. They are your future building,
Thank
steps.
You. Thanks for sharing that. And just to that point, so one of the organizations I know uses Evivve to teach as an extracurricular program in schools. And they do some work on socio-emotional skills. I think there's a short form of that. I'm forgetting, SES or something like that. STEM, I don't know. Anyway, but there's a terminology for that, and they're using it for social emotional learning. SEL, that's the one. Yes, SEAL learning, and that's how it's being used as well that I've seen. But they're like little adults, they will just kind of navigate and organize and get people, and their minds are just so agile. They quickly move. They don't fixate on a strategy that was made initially. They adapt to the changing environment. So it's really beautiful to see that. And I think as adults, we can learn a thing or two by just watching kids play.
And extremely curious as well. The whole 10-minute strategy session was just bombarded into questions, and they explored each and every single tile,
Beautiful. Wow. Great. So that's, I think if there are no other questions, and I'm sure you might have questions around how can you use this, or what can you do to be involved in the facilitator community, or any of those kinds of things. I've dropped the website Evivve.com, along with my Calendly. If you want to connect with me and have a chat about this and talk about, how you could join the certification program or how you could use it internally. You may not have time to become a certified facilitator. That's okay as well. We can come in and support you as facilitators who already know how to do this. So I've left my those two key ways of getting in touch in the chat, and I look forward to connecting with you and to hear from you. And on this note, I want to take a moment to thank the facilitators that joined me. Thank you so much, guys. Mo, Saba, Jean, well done, you guys. And I think as a facilitator who uses games for learning, I think there's one key thing here that I have to highlight, and this comes down to across the board in facilitation. As a facilitator, our job is to ensure that the player knows what they're doing. So often the success of a program is linked to how well did the facilitator enable and empower the players who are playing the game. And I think you can apply this concept in just about any activity that you're using, right? So you can just figure out how do I make it so that the player or the learner can be active and be taking actions and be independent as soon as possible. The sooner you activate, and I call this activating a learner, the sooner you activate the learner, the more effective the learning experience will be. And I've seen that time and again with this. So I say this to say that good job, all facilitators, for activating your learners today. Well done. And with that, I will pass it over to Anna Maria. I think you had a comment as well, Anna. So
I do, because now you mentioned this, and I had this question since I played 2 years ago, and I'm going to ask it now because you opened that door for me, Mohsen. And I think you even kind of prepared us at the beginning when you said, like, teams usually don't win the game from the first time and so on. And I found the game hard. I might not be the most brilliant person on earth for sure, but I found it hard. And I thought, like, why is it designed so difficult? Is it because we want folks to have another experience? And I find as a facilitator, and back then also as a participant, it's so important to, how do we manage that? Like, whenever we talk about games, we usually throw ourselves at them, and we're competitive and we want to win and we want to see progress and so on. And I'm talking more for myself than for anyone else. And I wonder, how do we, as facilitators, manage those, what could potentially be negative emotions, right? Like, I'm not having fun here because I don't feel that I'm progressing fast enough, or I'm not winning, or whatever. So question is, like, was it by design that is so difficult to progress? And then how do you balance that out with kind of frustration at the end where everyone's like, boo?
It's a really fine balance. And you make the game too hard, you cause frustration and people leave. You make the game too easy, people are bored and they're not interested, and the victory doesn't mean as much. So it's a real fine balance. Also, because this is a learning doing game. This is not a learning game. It's a learning doing game, and you're doing things and you're learning in the process of doing so. So what makes it even harder here is that we want to place some amount of cognitive overload, because only then will we also surface some of the natural and native behaviors that people have. Without that cognitive overload, you're operating with your full mental faculties. But with the cognitive overload, you are now starting to make reactive moves and take reactive responses to situations that are emerging in the game. And that becomes a really, really important area of learning as well. So what I like to say is, in the first round, there's a lot of authentic behavior that surfaces. In the second and third rounds, there's a lot of synthetic behavior that surfaces, because those are the behaviors that we've practiced. We know the norms, and now we're operating more cognitively with a lot more awareness. Hopefully that answers.
Nice.
Will, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, Muslim talked about that more than once before in his LinkedIn post. Do check him out on that one. But there's something that we need to consider, and I've noticed it more than once when we're facilitating facilitating the game. Well, people get extremely competitive, and they take that in tandem with their pride. I mean, like, I lost, but no. But Vikings lost, not you. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you lost for a reason. Let's talk about the reason, and then let's talk about what you learned. And I always like to highlight that this is a valuable failure experience. Okay, so it's not just you failed. Let's humiliate you and make a Burning Man around it. No, I'm just letting you know that, okay, we lost. What's the point? What learning did we come out of this? And that's what I focus on, because I don't keep saying, oh, we lost because of once I facilitate. No, what did we do right? What did we learn from this? Take a breather. This was tough. You did a good job. Tell me what you did well. And to be completely honest, most of the teams that I've played with did lose miserably, not just lose. Okay, only a hefty number did win, and I myself, being in more than one team before, I guess I only won like once, but I came out with a lot of learning. And that's the thing that I like to focus on, because people need to take learning risks, and they need to fail and then bounce back out of failure. But if it's too easy, it's too boring, and there's no reward in it. But if they won, well, that's amazing. But what's the learning also? So that's the thing. What did we do? And let's just highlight that one. Put a focus lens on it.
Yeah. So again, it all comes back to the talent of the facilitator to hold the group and ask the right questions and invite them in the right reflections. All right, we're at time, everyone. Here we go. My checkout for today is how you feel right now in one word. That's it. One word, click send. It was amazing to have you all here. Mohsin, Esaba, Mo, and Jean, thank you so much for hosting and bringing Evivve to us and playing with us. And crazy how 2 hours just passed by, right? In the blink of an eye. Hit the answers, submit your answer, and let's see what the vibe is.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Woo! Motivated, accelerated, truthful, thoughtful, energized, inspired, impressed, amazing, launch-worthy. Okay. All right. Enjoy the rest of your days wherever you are in the world, and hope to see you around very, very soon. And join the Butter community if you're not there yet. That's all. Rachel, thank you for being here as well.
Nice meeting you all.
Thanks for
Bye,
being
everyone.
here, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Nice meeting you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.